What's up, my friend? Consider this your official invitation to our upcoming 4-day mystical immersion conference. It's going to be amazing. We're going to spend 4 days encountering the presence of God, going deep into the heart of Jesus to choose our mystical identity. We're going to be exploring the power of your choice. We're going to be tapping into the mystical side of our faith, which is pretty much all of it, all while diving deep into our true identity, who we really are in Him. I'm so excited about this retreat because I've teamed up with some good friends of mine that's gonna make this thing even better. Myself, Gil Hodges from Kingdom Talks, Martin Smith with Identity Coaching, come on guys. And we'll also be joined by my good friend, Lahaba. It's always something amazing when I team up with these guys. This 4-day encounter starts February the 15th through the 18th. It's gonna be in Anderson, South Carolina. As of December the 4th, we have released the early bird special, so make sure you get your tickets ASAP because the prices will increase. I can't wait to see you in 2024 at the Choosing Your Mystical Identity 4-day encounter. It's gonna be amazing. Go to seer.school to get your tickets now. Really quick, before we get started, if you are blessed by this ministry, if you're blessed by this platform, anything that I bring to the table, I ask you to partner with me via Patreon. Go to patreon.com/TruthSeekah and you unlock rewards, my entire discography of music, webinars, meditations, weekly hangouts, and so much more. Patreon.com/TruthSeekah. Go check it out.
Won't you come and take me away? I just wanna be with you. Won't you come and take me away? To a place to walk on troubled seas, faith to stand when I don't believe. I just wanna be with you. Won't you come and take me away? I just wanna be with you. Won't you come?
You are now locked into the TruthSeekah Podcast, streaming live at TruthSeekah.com, your source for spiritual and inspirational music, teachings, and media. This show is designed to help you grow in your walk with Christ and advance the kingdom of heaven. And now, your host, TruthSeekah.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the TruthSeekah Podcast. I'm excited to be with you for another episode. Today, my guest is Lisa Richards. Lisa, welcome to the podcast, my friend. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you so much. This is such an honor.
Great to have you. We're going to be talking about energy and how to amplify it, different types of energy, I'm assuming, pyramid energy, orgone energy, orgonite, the pyramids, and maybe bringing the two together. A lot of theories. I think a lot of people have seen these little pyramids in passing and not really know what they do, and probably me being one of them. I have some here, and when I got them, had no idea, what they were. Just some cool little random crystals mixed together and a little coil running through it. So we're going to dive deep into that today with you and your work and what you bring to the table. So it's going to be fun, exciting. Everybody buckle up and let us know in the comments if you have any questions, and we will try to answer those the best we can. And I'm sure Lisa will come back and do that as well. So to start off this conversation, and we're going to dive deep into all that energy. We're going to get fun. We're going to get woo-woo. We're going to be practical as well. But let's start off and just kind of give an overview, who you are, what you do, what you bring to the table.
Yes, thank you. So my name is Lisa Richards. I am the business owner of Pyramid Surge, and I'm actually partnered with Stargate Pyramids and Charlie Z. So Stargate Pyramids makes the meditation pyramids. I make the accessories, so like the capstones and the pyramid amplifiers and, different EMF protection jewelry and things like that. Pendulums, as you can see behind me. Charlie and I also, a few years ago, started the Pyramid Science Foundation, which is based on the research of pyramid energy. And, people see these pyramids all over the world and we wonder what they're about. We don't really know. And they're definitely not tombs for the pharaohs. No pharaohs were ever found inside of these pyramids. So there's a lot of different perspectives from a lot of different researchers around the world. But the Russian government specifically has been building pyramids all over Russia for the past 20 or 30 years. And they're made out of, excuse me, non-conductive materials, specifically PVC pipe and fiberglass. And they are a different geometry. They're like the geometry on the shelf above me here. So it's a steeper angle than like the Giza pyramids that you're going to see. The geometry has to be very specific, though. This one is an angle of 76.345 degrees. And you have to have that specific angle in order for it to work properly. It also has to be aligned to the north, true north, not magnetic north. There's usually a 10-degree difference, depending on where you live in the world, between true north and magnetic north. And all the pyramids around the world are aligned to north as well. But so let's get back to the government. So the government specifically hired Alexander Golod to do all this research with pyramids in Russia. And they built one, it was 144 meters tall. They were finding amazing results with this pyramid. The ozone was healing above the pyramid. People would go in and get spontaneously healed. Just all kinds of things. It was decreasing the violent weather over there. Even outside of the pyramid where the points are, they saw plants growing that they didn't recognize. So they analyzed those plants and they went extinct thousands of years ago. So Charlie and I, through the Pyramid Science Foundation, are trying to raise funds to replicate a lot of this research because, of course, they don't give all the information to you, just a little bit, little tidbits here and there. But it does amazing things with gardening, increases the yield by 30 to 100%. You can supercharge your seeds inside of it before you plant. When you meditate inside of it, it brings your body into coherence, back to your body's true ability to heal itself is really what it's doing. And then, if you utilize it for manifestation, you have to be very mindful of your thoughts before you sit inside of one of these pyramids, because it's like jumping ahead of the line to place your order. So if you're in a bad mood, it's an amplifier as well. It's going to amplify that bad mood as well. So just be very mindful of your thoughts. But if you're very certain on what you want to manifest and sit inside it, like I said, it's like jumping ahead of the line to place your order. Meditations, you're going to have deeper meditations. If you're an energy healer, if you do your work inside of the pyramid, you're going to connect to your client a lot faster. So there's so many benefits. One of the studies that the Russians did that just amazes me, I have to tell this to everybody. They had a study with 12 babies that were so premature. Every one of these babies was expected to die. And they had water that was sitting inside of the pyramid charging for a couple of weeks. They injected that water into the IVs of these babies and every one of them lived. So this is the kind of amazing work that's being hidden from us. And what we can see now, a couple of years ago, Russia was being demonized. And now we can kind of see how they're actually caring for their people more. They're more on top of the health spectrum. They're more into natural healing. They kicked out all the GMOs in their country and will arrest anybody for growing things like that. So we have to look outside of what we're being told, and we can see the world around us is being unraveled. All the lies are coming to the forefront, and nobody knows who to trust anymore. And we're the only person that we can really trust. So we need to start tapping into our true power. Our intuition is the most powerful thing that we have. It's our superpower. And once we learn to utilize that, through tools like the pyramids, we're just going to be unstoppable, because look at all the things they're doing around us in our environment to keep us down. They're not just poisoning our food, they're poisoning our water, they're poisoning the electrical magnetic frequencies around us are harming us.
Yeah.
The medications they give us are poisoning us. So, and we're still drudging on. It's not like they put out the rat poison and kill us. We're getting poisoned from every avenue and we're still drudging on. So that should show you how powerful we really are. And I know that the pyramids get demonized somewhat because, oh my goodness, they're on the back of the dollar bill and they're associated with the Illuminati and this and that. But these are tools. It's an energy tool that can be used for good and bad, and it's powered by your intention. And I believe there are more good people in the world than there are bad. So once we start tapping into our power and utilizing our intention, the world's going to be a beautiful place.
Wow. Man, I have so many questions and so much to add, so this is a pyramid is almost this focal point of channeling some kind of energy, right?
Mhm.
Can you talk a little bit about being specific with the energy? If it's universal energy, we've heard of orgone energy that it's channeling, it's creative energy, is it channeling
Mhm.
spirits? I mean, what is spirit or spirits outside of energy? Can you talk a little bit about like what it's doing, like with from the point to whatever's below it or in it?
Yeah. So it's connecting to your higher self. So we all have that aspect of ourself that knows our full potential, that knows our full ability, that resides in another realm, let's say. So once we connect, let's say we're utilizing the pyramid for healing. Once we connect to our higher self is like, hey, we know how to heal. Listen up, let's do it. And instantly you're going to start healing your body again. You're communicating with yourself again, with that aspect of yourself that remains in a better place, that's not tainted by this 3D reality. But like I said, if you're an energy healer, if you're a channeler, you can tune in. It's an antenna. It's an antenna and an amplifier of energy. So you can connect with whatever you want it to connect with. But like I said before, too, it's all based on your intention. So if your intentions are bad, you can connect with something bad if you'd like to as well, which I don't recommend, of course, but, people do that. But like I said, there's going to be, it's just that there's going to be way more people out there using it for good.
Mhm.
And that's going to be, that's the war that we're sadly in right now. It's good against bad. It's evil. There's evil out there and we need to conquer it. And this is one of the tools that we can utilize to definitely do that, because it kind of, when you're sitting inside of it, you feel like you're in a different realm. You're going to meditate, get into the meditative zone a lot faster. You're going to get more information when you're meditating. And comparing this geometry to like the Giza pyramid, I say the Giza pyramid, which I don't have it here, it's over there, but everybody has seen the Giza geometry. It's a shorter, wider at the base. That's more of like the dial-up connection. This is for these pyramids, the steeper angle, the more power it's going to have. So it's more like the high-speed internet. It's going to be a faster connection. The Giza pyramids are good. They're good for like, people that have the monkey brain who can't calm their mind. So people that have trouble sleeping, that's what the Giza pyramid's for. Giza pyramid, if you're drawn to it, which was the first one I was drawn to before I found the Russian pyramid as well. You're drawn to it for a reason. So utilize that until you're advanced enough to move up to the Russian geometry. But it's also, there's a lot to it. I'm more on the spiritual aspect of it. My partner, Charlie Zeiss, who's with Stargate Pyramids, my business partner, he goes more into the science behind it. And that's why we created the Pyramid Science Foundation. He's the one who mainly, it's the structure of all reality is what he discovered in his research. It creates a torsion field, but there's still a vast mystery to it that we're still trying to figure out.
So what all goes inside of it? Because there's different kinds, right? So, thinking about the ones that you get in or put above you, and then there's crystals in it to amplify. You see things like that. A coil that's going around and pointing up and like getting the energy and bringing it down below. But there's also, like you said, the PVC pipe that people are sitting in. I've seen people wear them on their heads, like have like pyramids on top of their heads.
Yeah.
Shout out to the my breatharian friends online who are doing. I got some friends that are pushing that energy, and they're wearing it everywhere like a hat.
Yeah.
You see Crowley wearing a pyramid kind of thing on his head. Maybe he understood some of this channeling the frequencies that he wanted to be um, strategic about what he wanted to come in versus what's just out there for the masses. There's a lot of awesome places we can journey with this, but like creating one, what's the difference of the two, and are you talking about both?
Yeah, so the meditation pyramids that Charlie makes are actually made out of PVC pipe, specifically from the research of the Russian government. They found that if you make a pyramid out of metal, the Russian geometry pyramid is the only one they tested. But if you make the Russian geometry pyramid out of metal, it diminishes the power. Not entirely, it doesn't entirely go away, but it lessens the power. So you want the most power that you can get. So they have to use a non-conductive material. Charlie uses PVC pipe, but I'm in the process of, I want to go more of an organic nature and looking into like wooden pyramids. I'll be doing some research with gardening and stuff this year. So the wooden pyramids would be more ideal. Now, since they are diminished in power with metal, my capstones and my pyramid amplifiers that I make that go with this meditation pyramid do not have metal in them. They do have, like you can see, the crystals in them. This one has septarian, it has pyrite, it has fire agate, and then it has bionized quartz sand in it as well. Now this, anytime you put a crystal inside of resin, even though resin is so-called is like a chemical composition, it's still carbon based. So it's creating kind of like the orgone energy, but not. I'll go into the orgone energy in a minute. What it's doing is when the resin cures, it squeezes the crystals, which is like a juicing effect. It squeezes out more energy of those crystals. So the metaphysical properties of those crystals are going to be more powerful when they're inside of the resin than if they were by themselves. I also do another process called bionization, which I haven't seen many people do at all. It's based on the work of Wilhelm Reich, and Wilhelm Reich was the one who founded orgone energy. Bionization is a process of freezing and boiling a product several times, which infuses it with life force energy, which never dissipates. So all the crystals that I utilize in my products are bionized, and which means that you never have to charge them. They'll always retain a very high energy. You can actually put other crystals beside these or inside your meditation pyramid to charge them because they're such a high energy. Now, going to the orgone energy, that is different. A lot of people have these orgone pyramids or just orgone devices. Wilhelm Reich discovered orgone energy, another name for the ether. There's a lot of different names for it. But he actually moved to America. He was doing public displays of healing in America for thousands of people out in the public. People were witnessing this. He got arrested for fraud. He came here to live the American dream, but it turned into a nightmare for him. He got arrested for fraud. He was thrown in prison. All of his books were burnt. His work was stolen. And 2 weeks before he was released, he conveniently died of a heart attack. So that there proves to me that yes, his work was good and we need to look into it. So I started delving into orgone energy. Now, orgone energy is the layering of organic and inorganic materials. So since resin is a carbon base, the metals that are in orgone or organite is a trademarked name. So some people can't use that unless they pay a fee. So orgone energy is the layering of carbon and the metals. So what that does, it creates like a scrubbing effect. So the carbon, the resin will attract the ether, the orgone energy, and the metals repel it back really fast. So if you have them all stacked and layered together, it's creating a pushing and pulling effect, back and forth, which is scrubbing that energy clean. And the energy that's emitted out of the top of that device is now clean energy. So let's say you have one of those orgone devices, put it in front of your computer. Before you had that pyramid there or that orgone device, you were getting blasted with radiation from your computer. Now that pyramid is there, that orgone device, and it's transmuting that negative radiation energy into beneficial energy. So now instead of getting blasted with negative energy, you're getting blasted with beneficial energy, which actually empowers you even more than if you were not by it in the first place.
Wow. Talking about the, conduit, if you will, from the energies above to the energies below, like even in that symbolism, you have the six-pointed star, which is a pyramid pointing up, and the interlocking pyramid pointing down, giving us the six-pointed star. We've seen again in a lot of these pyramids, they have the spiral with a coil, which is usually copper. And I've been seeing all of these videos on TikTok of people in their gardens taking a copper rod or a stick and putting copper coiled around it, putting it in their garden and putting it in the ground, and then going up to act as an antenna. Like you said, there's this antenna effect. Sometimes they'll have a crystal on it, but it's like to collect or to pull in this higher energy and to drive it into the soil in that area. And so it like enriches the soil, and the crop that they're getting in that area that's connecting the heavens and the earth together, if you will, are like sometimes like 60 times more harvest in the fruits or the vegetables that they're getting. And the fruits are way bigger, like insanely bigger, like almost like bigger as in there shouldn't be any lack on the earth, because this crop is like 60 times bigger where these poles are, these rods are. So we tried it, as skeptics. Hey, let's try it out and see. Anybody can, get a piece of copper, put it in the ground, and put it in your garden or in your flower pot and just check it out. And sure enough, the soil that we got, that we started this garden with, wasn't the best. It was a lot of mixed dirt, and a lot of it was red dirt. So it's going to take a while. There's no compost, no organic soil from our land. It was brought in. So it's not the best. Let's say that. We get some stuff to grow, but it's not the best at all. So we tried it in the middle, and we took a stick, my wife did, and put a copper coil all the way around it, went up to a bunch of little antennas at the top and a crystal in the middle. And sure enough, almost everything in the the garden is, she's doing better. Let's say that. But where the rod is, the rod is everything is alive, and everything is growing in abundance right in the middle where she put the rod. So it's like, hold on, there's something to it. And it's made it through where everything else is like falling by the wayside. This plant, the vegetables here in the middle, are still producing. So it's like, we got to get more. We got to go get more, just study the technology. What is it, But I think it is being able to harness the energies of the ether, of spirit, whatever you want to call it. It's been called so many names, and connecting it with the earth. I mean, that's what we are as well. We are spirit beings that are connected with the earth. We are from the earth, Adam, we're from the ground, or whatever that story. All the stories say that we're from the earth and our spirits are from above, if you will. So I see that connection, and I see it there with the pyramid energy, just harnessing the free energy. It's free energy. It's there. You just got to learn how to absorb it and use it, right?
Yeah. So that's one of our big projects next. Once we raise enough funds, we're going to be testing the free energy properties of the Russian geometry pyramid. There's actually a place in Peru, oh my goodness, I can't think of the name, but they have a giant meditation pyramid down there. I don't know how tall it is. It's probably at least 50 feet tall, but it's beautiful, made out of bamboo. And they were willing to help us with our research for the free energy. So, going back to a story, now this isn't the Russian geometry pyramid, but the Giza geometry pyramid. There was a man in Canada named Les Brown in the 70s. He built a 3-story high wooden Giza pyramid greenhouse. So 3 different stories. The very top story was the warmest. So he would grow in Canada tropical plants on that 3rd floor. And then one day he decided he was going to connect the peak to the very center, to a ground plate in the center. And he had a cotton or wool rope that was hanging down from the peak. And he had a metal plate in the ground below him. And as soon as he grabbed that piece of wool and that metal plate at the same time, he got zapped with such a blast of energy, it knocked him like 30 feet across his greenhouse. And that kind of traumatized him enough where he didn't want to play around with that energy anymore. But that's how powerful the energy is,
Wow. I've been, I'm a student of the scriptures of the Bible. That's my go-to source. That's my, I think there's a lot of secrets in there that we don't understand, that somebody before us understood, and it's encoded, like waiting for us to understand. So I'm reading about these certain booths that were created, and so they call them Sukkoth or Sukkots, and it's actually a Jewish holy day. It's a festival that they keep, and so they all create these little booths, and it's very strange because, like, in tradition, and the imagery they show us creating these little squares or whatever, these 4-cornered squares. But when you start reading the text and breaking the words down and then looking into pyramid energy, like, it's like, hold on, what? There's no, like, they create these little booths and they go sit in them and fast and pray, like, inside of them. And it's like, what is that doing? So there's nothing that's like in there just out of being peculiar versus like, hey, this is how you channel energy. Because when you start looking into it, they're not squares. They're not a box. It's a pyramid. It's a triangle. And that's why you can do the research on the triangle energy and the pyramid energy, and also look at all of the churches with the steeple or the obelisk that's on top of them. That's channeling the energy from above, and it's the priest or the pastors are distributing it to the people, channeling the energy from the heavens and giving it to the people as they come and pay their tithes and listen and those things. So it's just way of just conducting energy and learning how to do it within a congregation, for sure, that's happening, but also within your own body, because you find yourself being the conductor. You are the pyramid that connects heaven and earth together, right? This is so amazing that it's been there the whole time, but the imagery they show us throws us off. It's like, oh, what does that do? Oh, it's just for tradition, darling. It's all it is. Like,
it's they're lying. It was all put out there to confuse us. That's what I mean. We have to really go in and trust our intuition, learn how to connect with spirit and get real, true messages. It was a couple years ago when things started coming out about, oh, nobody should connect with spirit, this and that, it's everything's evil. I've never felt anything evil about connecting with spirit ever. And I kind of just, all that information going around kind of made me hesitate for a little bit on that aspect. But then I was like, nobody's going to get any real answers if you keep living in fear. I'm just going to do it anyway, and that's what I live by. I just go with what my heart draws me to. And I get the most powerful messages, and let's go back though, because several years ago, I didn't even know that we had this ability. I went to my first reading from a medium, and I wanted to connect with my grandmother. I had lost her like 10 years before that. She was like a mother to me. And so I was skeptical, but I wanted to believe. And so during the reading, this lady, she was a medium from Lilydale, which is a spiritualist community not far from here. It's up in New York, and I'm in Pennsylvania. And so the lady's communicating, saying, oh, well, I have an old lady here. You know, her hands are going like crazy, like she's crocheting this or that. And she kept saying things that were hitting the nail on the head with my grandmother. But the skeptic in me was like, well, you know, my grandmother knew I wasn't truly believing because I was relating it to any old lady, you know. And then pretty soon, about 5 minutes into the reading, the medium paused and she looked at me and she said, who's Catherine? And at that moment, my whole world changed. I could feel I was like, that's my grandma. And how does she know that? There's no way that she could have known that. And I could feel my grandmother manifesting behind her and standing there, and just the power of everybody that came through. My grandfather, who did a lot of bad things when he was on this earth, he came through. Now, why was he with my grandmother? You know, there's people go back to their true identity. Yeah. We're all playing games and roles down here. Even though you're a bad person down here, doesn't mean you were a bad person and you're going to go to hell. A lot of times you're suffering that punishment while you're living here, yeah. I think, you know, so you go back. My grandfather, who was a mean son of a bitch to my grandmother, you know, he said he's waiting for my grandmother to pass away so he can treat her like he should have treated her when he was on earth, you know. My uncle, who committed suicide, he came through. How is that possible? He's supposed to be in hell, right? You know, some of the strongest people, I think, on our earth are those that commit suicide. How strong do you have to be to make that decision where you don't know what's going to happen, but you don't want to be here anymore? You know, I mean, so there's a lot. It was just so powerful. And I remember saying to the medium, you know, you have the best job in the world. You just proved to me that there's no death, that our loved ones who have passed away are with us all the time, and they're here to help us anytime we need them to. And she said, well, you can do this too. It's like playing the piano. Some people are better at it than others. And I was like, what are you talking about? I didn't know that. I thought you had to be born with this ability. And she said, no. And so she showed me where a spiritualist church was close to me, and I learned mediumship. And that was one of the first things, and energy healing down the road. But the mediumship was just so powerful. I'll just tell you real quick the first story of my connection. So I didn't want that anticipation, doing a private reading, practicing with people. You know, I didn't want to disappoint them or feel the pressure. So I just told people, I put a feeler out on Facebook and I said, hey, I'm practicing mediumship. If you have a loved one in spirit you want to connect with, send me their picture. And so what I would do is I would meditate at night whenever the house was quiet for about 20 minutes. And then I would ask my spirit guides to come bring this person in spirit to me to communicate on behalf of their loved one. And if they can't find that person, to bring somebody to communicate on their behalf. And the very first picture I got was of somebody's grandfather. So I did that whole process, and I'm sitting there with my eyes closed, just waiting, because it's a process of, for me, it's a whole embodiment of things. I feel energies in my body. I smell things. I do readings sometimes with my eyes closed. So it's kind of like a dream state. You can see images. And the very first thing I did, I saw a black lab. And I was like, this is weird, like a dog. And then I heard the name Teddy Bear. And then I smelled Vicks Vapor Rub. And I was like, this is really weird. You know, I didn't want to say anything to the person, but my teacher taught me, it doesn't matter if you don't think it makes sense, it's going to make sense to them. So make sure you tell them everything that's coming through. And, you know, once you open that door, there's more than one person that wants to connect with them. So everybody will come through. Animals, you know, their past pets, other loved ones, ancestors even that haven't ever been contacted before, or it had the ability to speak, you know. So I saw a black lab, I heard the name Teddy Bear, and I smelled Vicks Vapor Rub. And I told the girl that, and she goes, oh my God, I had a dog that passed away. He was a black lab and he sat on my lap all the time. So I called him my 100-pound teddy bear. And he had a lesion on his leg, and the vet told me to put Vicks Vapor Rub on it. And I was like, oh, no shit. Like, it shocked me, you know? I was like, oh my God, this is, but that was like the aha moment for me. I was like, this is real. You cannot make this stuff up. It's not like grandma's here and she loves you. It's not basic information like that. You're going to get information from your loved ones to prove to you that they are here with you all the time, but they have to sit by idly and watch your demise. We have free will and we have to call upon them for assistance. That's what they're here for. They're here to assist us, to make sure that we learn all the lessons that we're here to learn. And once you do that and connect, there's so much power in us. It just amazes me. And that's what I want to teach people is, you know, I started doing readings for people and I started doing energy healings for people. And what I found was people just become reliant on that. And then they're just sucking the energy away. You know, even my aunt, I was like, you can do this too, trying to teach her. And she goes, well, I'd rather come to you so you can do it, you know, instead of taking the power and doing it yourself. And so I kind of cut all that off. I stopped doing readings. I stopped doing energy healing. And I want to teach people that they can do it themselves, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. That's so good. I mean, everything is energy, you know, and there is an exchange, and um, e- everything is them communicating with us in subtle ways. That's why um, we don't think they are, because they've been doing it and they've been trying to get our attention for so long, but it's become so normal. Just like it's like your imagination. You close your eyes and you receive imaginations, the same, you know, images in your mind come to you the same way they've always been.
Yeah.
But once you know that, hold on, this is something, this isn't from me. It comes down to that we are the coils, we are the antennas, and there is no turning it off or on. You can get better at it, you can key in and get um intentional with it, but everything is us communing with the world that existed before us. Everything is, from monuments to statues to pictures of your loved ones, and what it brings forth the feeling. If not, it's not working when you see it. When you look at the thing and it invokes a feeling in you that they were connected with, and boom, that's the energy that you can key in on who and what they are and what they meant to you and what they represent to you. Because, like you said, to someone else, that person may have been a monster. You know, it took me a while to get over that and stop saying that about my ancestors, because I'm like, I don't know if I want my grandfather. He was a monster, you know, and this kind of thing. And like, I had to be able to really dive deep into scripture, to be honest with you, to see that there's a separation, that he, you know, you're not your mistakes, and there's no more mention, there's no more remembrance of the thing that you did wrong, and the thing that, you know, counted you out. Those things are, there's a separation between good and evil, yin and yang, and the spirit is that which is eternal. And the scripture says that God wipes away every tear from your eye. There's no more memory of that, of those treacherous things. Like, come on, what is heaven? What is beauty if you have to bring those things with you? And I firmly believe it. And the scripture continually teaches that. And then here we are, if we know that, we can experience it instead of being scared and, like, you know, thinking it's a demon and that kind of stuff. This, I'll give you and everyone else this. This is what it's talking about. The same way that Jesus taught on how to commune with him from the other side is the same way from every culture that they've been communing with their ancestors and saints and angels and team and really whoever, you know, to have the picture, to make mention, to say their name, and to make um, to bring their memory up, because their memory invokes a feeling in you that invokes them to you immediately. Like
Yes.
in Egypt, it said this, that resurrection is that there is no death, that the person is resurrected and born again with you the moment you mention their name.
Yeah.
The moment you say their name, they're with you. And I love the scriptures. I keep bringing it back there, but he's like, hey, say my name. Remember me on earth. If you do that, I'll remember you in the ethers. Do you, people, your grandmother is saying the same thing. Remember me. I want to remember you out here. I got some pull. Remember us. This do in remembrance of me. That's a reason there's statues up of all of these founding fathers and all. That's somebody's grandfather
Yeah.
who their energy and their influence is still accessible to them in this moment.
Yeah.
This is how this thing works. And it's from Genesis to Revelation in the Bible. And it's really in every holy book. They're all saying the same things. And even if a lack of holy books, throw them all out the window. When you sit in silence and pray and meditate, that's what we go back to. Infinite energy, 0 point, all not in the past, not in the future, but channeled in the now moment. Tesla learned to do this. Mediums and and psychics have learned to do this, how to pick up on subtle energy, subtle messages. And like you said, when it starts revealing itself to you and you're like, oh my God, I'm a skeptic. Like I didn't know it was going to be that clear. And it is. And it's so fun and it's so groundbreaking that we're not alone. We do have a team.
Mhm.
We do have angels and guides and guardians and all of that amazing stuff. So knowing that, it should, kickstart something in you to want to connect and just to ask, seek, and knock and not be afraid.
Yeah, it's sad for us when we lose somebody here in this 3D world, because especially if you're not connected with spirit. But if you are connected with spirit, you know that every time a loved one passes away, it's an addition to your spirit army that's over there to help you. And they are way more powerful on the other side than they ever were down here. They can help you far more from the other side than they were ever able to help you down here. They know everything. They know why you made decisions in your life. They know why you are the way you are now. And, the stupidest thing is just to sit there and not call upon them and wallow in your self-pity. We are strong and we need to reconnect to that, ask for assistance. That's what they're there for,
Mm-hmm.
and where you focus, what is it? Energy flows where your focus goes,
Mm-hmm.
So we need to start doing that. And there's so many distractions in this lifetime. They're intentional distractions. We work our lives away. It wasn't until I quit my job out of the blue because I did not feel fulfilled.
Yeah.
I had been working for 25 years in the restaurant industry. I was an event coordinator, organizing weddings and things. And I just didn't like what I was doing. And I remember saying to the owner one day, don't you think there's more to life than this? And I worked 60, 70 hours a week. I didn't have time for anything, raising 2 kids. And I quit my job out of the blue. And within 2 weeks, I had 3 part-time jobs working half the amount of hours, making the same amount of money. And they were all fulfilling jobs. But the key was quitting my job, because if I was still looking for jobs while I was holding that job, there was no place for that job to go.
Yeah.
You have to open up that space in order for that energy to find you, and that's how manifestation works. You have to open up space. And let me tell you this manifestation story. So, when a couple of years ago, when our pyramids started getting really popular, Charlie and I were going to different expos. And so I was doing back-to-back expos every weekend. And my ex and I, we're ex now, but at the time we were together. And we had been together for 12 years, but the past 5 years of that, he was like a roommate. Like we were both just going our opposite ways, living in the same house, not, really sharing anything other than that. But every time I would bring up the subject of, I think we should separate, he would get irate. Typical narcissist, he wanted control. He would threaten to burn the house down, like just off the wall things like that. So I just stopped communicating with him because I didn't want to deal with that. So I came back from one of my expos and I was sitting in the living room, and I remember looking around the living room and I was like, I don't have any of my own pyramids in my own house, because they sold so fast. I just didn't have any in my own house. So I went out to my workshop and I had a few of them out there. So I brought them into the house and I set them on my desk, and my desk was in my living room. And I started looking around the living room, and I imagined myself taking down all of our pictures of us together and putting them up in the attic with the face towards the wall so nobody could ever see them again. And right then I heard in my mind, he'll never leave unless he has a girlfriend, someone to take care of him. And so right then I placed an order with the universe with my pyramids. I said, find him a girlfriend. And that was that. I completely forgot about that until a few weeks later. I had went to a couple more expos, came back, and then he was at work and I was like, I'm just going to mention it again, so he'll probably get irate again. But I text him and I said, hey, obviously our relationship has fizzled. Can we talk about it? And he instantly replied, yes, and I was like, well, that's weird. And I figured he'd come home, jump on the lawnmower and just avoid me, but he came right in, sat down, and him and I talked like you and I are talking, very calmly, adults just talking. And we both mutually agreed that it'd be best for us to separate. He said, give him a couple weeks, to get his stuff out or whatever. And he was going to move in with his friend until he found his own place. Well, the day he moved out, I had a dream that night that he had a girlfriend, and it was specifically this girl that he worked with. 3 nights in a row, I had, it was pretty much the same dream. It was a different dream, but the same outcome, that he had a girlfriend and it was this girl. So that's one reason that him and I didn't get along, because I started finding this, spirituality and stuff and doing things that made me happy, and it freaked him out. So he didn't want to hear about any of this stuff. But I texted him and I said, do you have a girlfriend? I keep having a dream that you have a girlfriend. Do you have a girlfriend? And he finally admitted that, yes, he had a girlfriend. And I couldn't be mad. That's the only reason that he was out of my life, was because I manifested this girlfriend for him. And I just laughed about it because I was like, wow, this is how powerful this stuff is. Your energy goes where you're going to focus your intention. And like I said, I just can't keep saying it enough that we are powerful. We can do whatever we want to.
Yeah, I mean, there's even your little, the imagination in the dreams. And people say, well, it's just my imagination playing tricks or whatever. It was like, no, there was somebody was trying to tell you something in the dream state when you were, I mean, what else is meditation than like hacking and tapping into the dream state and being intentional about it, where we go to get messages and downloads and inspirations of, the dreams that we want to create and manifest into this realm come to us in the hours of the night. That's when spirit speaks. That's where God speaks to us, and you're asleep and you're getting these dreams. And it was something that you needed to do, something that was going on in your life that you was able to position yourself for. And it ended up working out in everybody's favor. Let's say that. So spirit, God is always speaking, man. And it's just, how much are we listening? How do we learn to listen? And it's so funny because maybe religion or spirituality or whatever, a lot of people tell you there's only one way. You got to do it this way. This is the only way. You do it any other way, you're not, this is the best way. There is no best way. Like the best way is the way that works. The best way is the way that works. I've had people come to me. I was even thinking about it this morning, meeting with a guy, a young Christian guy, from another country. He was in our country and he wanted to meet, and we got coffee and stuff. And he was kind of just going through my influence and trying to like correct me and like, hey, there's a better way to do it.
Yeah.
There is no better way. Like it's the way that it's working. If it wasn't working, then show me a better way that's working. Your way is good too. Praise be to God. As long as it's working, listen, this has been shown to you. But if all of these other things are working too, then we need to rejoice and double down on all of the things that are working, that's helping people, that's helping people find healing, to find God, to find love, to find bliss in their life, So, man, honor everybody and their ways. And once you start to do that, and maybe become intrigued about their ways, then new ways will be shown to you, maybe even in your own order, in your own tradition, the way that you're operating and how you're doing the same thing. It's available for you to do too.
Yeah.
This is what keeps me up at night.
Yeah. Well, I know when I first put that feeler out on Facebook looking for clients or whatever, people to do readings for, my aunt responded and said, I feel it's my Christian duty to tell you you're going to hell. You're not allowed to communicate with spirits, and I mainly said, well, I appreciate your comment, but I don't believe that. I feel nothing but good out of this. And I continue doing readings, and I just saw the profound healings that it did give people. It is a great tool to use to help people get out of this 3D reality and realize that there's more out there. But once they become attached to you and want more and more, that's when you kind of have to shut them off and teach them to do it themselves, But yeah, I wouldn't do it any other way. And I always thought of that. I was never religious growing up. I remember my mom and dad had a huge book. My mom was Catholic. It was a huge Bible, and it had lots of beautiful pictures in it. And I would always flip through that and look at it and read the stories. And I started doing my own prayer, the Father's Prayer or whatever. And but I always remember going outside and looking, and I'd look up at the sky and I was like, this place is so effing weird. Like, I don't feel like we're from here. And I always felt like there was something bigger. And every time I'd go to church, I'd leave more confused than when I went there in the first place, because it was always with like a friend here and there or something. My mom didn't go to church anymore. My dad was meaner than heck. He wouldn't even have opened that Bible. So I was always just trying to figure out what was going on down here. And once I connected to spirituality, I just kind of found my place. But then I started realizing, like you had said, that there's so many other religions. And, so let's say there's 800 other religions. And if every other religion believes, if you don't believe in my religion, then you're going to go to hell, then obviously we're all in hell right now, right? I mean, that's the only thing that makes sense to me. So it's either that, or like you said, just leave people be, let them, it's where your attention goes. It's a tool. I think it's like anything. It's a tool to help you realize how powerful you are.
Yeah. Everything
Yeah.
is. Everything's
Yeah.
a tool. And they're here to assist and, help us here. That's what tools are here to help you get the job done. And we have so many, in the Christian thing. I remember because I was scared looking into this stuff and interviewing psychics, but all this stuff came down to just having conversations with people and seeing that we weren't different after all. Like the church, like, you can't talk to those people. No,
Yeah.
they're demon possessed. They're gonna. It's like, man, these are regular people that God loves and Jesus died for. So how about in a conversation, maybe I can connect with them and show them a Jesus that loves them. Maybe that, and that totally happened and happens, but we'd approach it with this caution, and we've been told to, like, watch
Yeah.
out. But then it's so much caution and red tape that they never move past it. And so I have my own cautions too. I've dealt with demons. I've dealt with, malicious spirits. They're real. They're in the church too. That's neither here nor there. But when you step into this and you've got these things telling you no, and you have to question, you have to ask, how bad do you want it? Do you want it? Is it calling to you? What is it? And as long as you're having that inner dialogue, which everyone, I won't say everyone is, sociopaths, they say don't,
Yeah.
and narcissists do, but it's always about them and never about the collective, right? So come
Yeah.
on. So if you're having the inner dialogue, right, and you're asking, you have these parameters that you set up, or somebody set up for you, namely religion and namely Christians. I would always say this, just getting started, just to ask this. They say, asking me about contacting the dead and people losing children and all this kind of stuff. And, there's a hole in their heart and they don't know how to fill it. But I would use caution at the beginning, and I would say, listen, yeah, the Bible says do not contact the dead. Don't contact the dead. And everybody said, yeah, it doesn't. But I said, but wait, what if, what if the dead contact you?
Yeah.
What if they contact you? It's like, oh,
Yeah.
well, I don't. So I would always start there, just to, hey, you don't go looking for it, but if it comes to you, just say hello. But long story short, it goes back to what I said. Everything coming from antiquity in Egypt, they're not dead.
Because I was just
Especially,
going to say that. Yeah.
especially if you're a Christian. If
Yeah.
you're like, you should know that death has been defeated. So your
Yeah.
loved ones aren't dead if they're in Christ. They have stepped into everlasting life.
Yeah.
So
A
to
lot
talk to them is not talking to the dead. Oh, but on the contrary, you to go get you to turn on your television and get your dietary on what to buy, what to wear. My God, don't get me started on what to wear.
of
That's killing you. That's coming from soulless, deadless entities that are running these lower realms, right?
Mhm.
So those of us who have anyone who has crossed over and went behind the veil, they're here to help, waiting. And it's a tragedy that they've scared us so much that the very things that we need that have been designed from Genesis to Revelation to tap in, they told us that it's demonic, but we're
Mhm.
down here dealing with the demonic.
Yes.
Like, come on.
Yeah, a lot of friends who are mediums said that when they communicate with the other side, the spirits will tell them that they are more alive than they've ever felt in their life, that we're actually the dead ones.
Yeah.
And that makes sense.
Yeah. It's hard to understand, but I think more people are asking that question,
Hmm.
you know, and looking around like, hold on, who am I and how did I get here and where am I going?
Yeah.
Near-death experiences, podcasts, and talks like these are definitely becoming more popular, um, and for good reason. People are asking questions, and guess what? They're getting answers.
Yeah.
So keep asking questions, man, and you'll get the answers. I mean, Jesus, like that was his thing. Ask, seek, knock. Ask the questions. The only answer is a response with another question, but in that you'll find your truth. You'll find the thing that you're looking for is already there.
Yeah.
You're not becoming, you already are. Everything is within you because that's how this stuff is passed down. And it's this I say it's fun. It's we have so much that are here to help, and that's so encouraging. So
Yeah.
encouraging.
And the key is when you go inside, you will find your truth. Your truth is different than other truths. Just because you find your truth doesn't mean that what somebody else is experiencing isn't true for them.
Yeah.
There are numerous truths out there. So,
That's a big debated one that'll get you in trouble from a lot of people, but it's something that I continually say as well, and it gets me in trouble.
mhm.
Your truth, because there's this thing of there's only one truth. And I get what they're saying, right? But but how facetious is it to think that your truth is the truth? Because that's what they're implying when they
Mhm.
check you and challenge you. I say, you
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Live your truth, man. Live your truth. Because your truth ain't my truth. But that's always in implying that yours is wrong and theirs is right.
Yeah.
No,
Well, we all received different programming. As soon as you're born into a family that starts programming you. You start meeting friends that start programming you. You start watching your own favorite movies and shows that start programming you. So everybody is programmed at a different frequency. It just makes sense that we find a different frequency to get out of that and back to reset ourselves. We're all not going to utilize the same frequency to reset ourselves. So,
that's your truth. I don't believe that. That's your truth.
yeah.
That's how it works. Yeah.
Yep.
So, I mean, I know we've I think the conversation is there. We went from talking about, you know, pyramid energy and harnessing and channeling good energy, because I think by default, a lot of us are channeling bad. There's things and parameters set up where it's just like bad, negative, lower energy. So
Yeah.
if we know that there's higher, beautiful energy, that first of all, we have experiments showing that it brings life, that it gives life, and it gives life in abundance, then I think we
Mhm.
should double down and just look into it a little bit more. Do experiments. Do experiments with your words, with your with your intention, with your imagination, and just like you've seen, you can manifest and create something in this world.
Yeah.
Christians even demonize that. I don't even know why, because it's all like, come on, you reap what you sow, the scripture talks about, but they would demonize that term manifestation and they give it over to the demonic or new age. Just do this. It's a universal law. And if you can manifest something good,
Yeah.
manifest beauty, manifest peace, manifest wealth to distribute, to help, manifest tools, manifest beautiful ideas, right? That's by default that we're all doing it. It just so happens to be that there's a lot of people who think they're doing good that are manifesting darkness by default. And it ain't their fault. They've been trained that way. They were told that was the truth, and it has become their truth because of that. And trust me, it doesn't have to be that way, not by any
Yeah.
means.
Well, like I said, a lot of this is being hidden from us intentionally, our true powers. I think it was in 400 AD, Constantine removed 25 spiritual texts from the Bible, which showed us what our true powers were. Um, and it just escalates from there. If we don't see the information and then they teach us, mold us into what they want us to be all through school, and you don't know what to believe anymore.
Yeah.
So,
And so you show up as an employee,
yeah.
unfulfilled. Listen, if you're an employee, listen, everybody's got a different calling. Everybody's got a different truth. But you knew there was something in you that's first of all, that's what I was wanting to go to. You were asking questions within. Is there more to life than working 60 hours a week at a job I don't want to be at?
Yeah.
And there were probably parameters that popped up in your mind as voices, as people. Maybe they had faces, and they said, "Yep, that's all you. This is what we're supposed to do. You chose this job. You're too old. You should have started young." Like, listen, there is no shortage of uh, words that are trying to keep you in that place have been designed way longer than you've been here to keep you in line, in order to do those things. But it's the asking the questions and then to keep asking. It's one thing to ask it once, is it? And then you ask
Yeah.
it again, and you ask it again, and now you're programming your subconscious, and you're looking around at people just like you doing what they love for
Mm-hmm.
60 hours a week.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
You get to do what you love for
Yeah.
60 hours a week? You
But the
damn,
key is to release that.
damn right.
You
It's
need to
for
make a vacant spot for that new job to come into before you're going to find what you really want to do. And it's risky, it's scary, but every day people are living in fear
yeah,
over ridiculous programming stuff, false things on the news, and this and that. Just disconnect from all of that.
yeah,
If you're going to fear something, then just fear um, for the loss of your job, but do it. It's like jumping off a cliff. Just freaking do it and see what happens. you know,
yeah,
and more good things will come to you.
yeah. If you position your heart to help, to good, to delight in something that's good, you'll find, like you said, good things are coming. I believe in the good things coming. And if you're doing that to help it, if you want to do good to help people, come on. There's not, like, we need more of that. The Bible says that the harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few. Pray that God will send forth laborers in the vineyard. Like, we need, like, better podcasters out here. We need better people who, are doing music, like creating good music. There's a shortage of people using their gifts and abilities and talents to help
Yeah.
and to heal. So step up and say, "Hey, I'll do it. If you'll take me off of this job I don't want to be at, I'll create something beautiful." Listen, tell the universe, tell God, and I guarantee you, man, He has a beautiful way of lining all this stuff up and opening the doors and showing you which ones to walk through. Because that's my story too. That's why I'm saying it with such passion. I'm speaking to myself through this camera and through this microphone. The younger version of me who was, driving the truck for years and digging ditches and cutting grass, and you're getting too old. All of those, that's what was in my head. That's what was trying to keep me, stuck in a place that I didn't want to be, and
Mm-hmm.
at a dead end job that I felt like my destiny and my dream was gonna die with me. That's the nightmare. What scares you more? You dying with your song in you? You going to the grave without singing your song and living your bliss? At least trying. At least try. That's where we're at. So ask, and you'll find again that it ain't just angels and spirits that are helping you. It's your ancestors. It is it
Yes.
is it is the universe.
Mm-hmm.
Everything in existence peeks its head up. You know? Really? You know how powerful you are? You know how loved you are? Cool. We respond. to love. We respond to beauty. Psh, you got so many friends, you got so many people that are rooting for you. It would scare the whatever out of you
Yeah.
to really know how much life, love, and information that is around you 24/7 in the clouds, in the dirt, in the wind, in the trees, the infinite intelligence that's communicating with us. My God,
And you'll feel it.
partner
You'll
with
feel
them.
it.
See what happens. Yeah, you will feel it. It's amazing. You're
Yeah.
telling us techniques on how to feel it and harness it and just say thank you. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on.
Yeah. I know, going back to that reading that I had, after that first mediumship reading I had, I just felt when I left there that there was a team of spirits with me at all times. Like I felt like there was 20 some people walking with me, that I didn't have to fear anything. And the next day, I walked a dog for a man every day, and I always walk the same way around the city. And for some reason, when I got to this road that I usually cross, I heard that I need to stay on this side. And so I did. I stayed on this side, which I never do. And I got halfway down the block, and a little S10 pickup truck comes screaming around the corner, whips over into the opposite lane, and slams into the bank right directly across from where me and the dog were at the time, where we would have been if I would have crossed the street. Slammed right into him, into the bank. And then we had to jump out of the way because it backed up. Like, it's just crazy. This information, this protection, this love, I mean, this power that you get when you can connect to this stuff,
Mhm.
And I know one thing that holds people back, I just wanted to touch on this real quick, is first of all, people don't live in the now. They are constantly thinking about the past, the traumas that they've experienced, or focusing on the future, when right now is the only time that life happens. Right directly now is when life is happening. And, one thing that holds people back a lot is the traumas in their life. And one way that I overcame that, I had a bad relationship where typical narcissist, he was bad though. He would be holding a knife to my throat one minute saying he was going to kill me. And then 5 minutes later, he'd be on his knees crying, for me to forgive him. And I knew he had a mental disorder. He just wouldn't get help for it. And he was causing me more chaos than I wanted. So I ended up finally, after 5 years of being with him and having 2 kids with him, getting out of that relationship. And it was a big ordeal. A lot of drama and things happened. But for the years after that, I was like, I'm a loser magnet. That's all I kept thinking. I attract the biggest losers in my life. I'm a loser magnet. I even had a pin that I would wear sometimes when I go out with my friends drinking that said loser magnet. What the heck was I doing? And I was drawing them to me, just by focusing on that. I didn't realize that at the time. I do now. But once I got into spirituality, I remember learning that, we all incarnate with the same group of souls in every lifetime. And before we incarnate on the other side, we plan the lessons that we want to learn in this lifetime. And it's the ones who hurt us the most in this lifetime are really the ones who love us the most from the other side. Because when we're planning our lessons, they step forward and they say, that's going to be a really hard lesson for you to learn. I will be the bad guy to teach you that. I'll be the one to step forward and teach you that, to make sure that you learn that lesson. And they don't know that down here, of course. Most of them won't know that until they get to the other side again. So it doesn't mean to keep connected to them while you're down here in the 3D, but it gave me that opportunity to release and forgive.
Yeah.
And that was a big part of my trauma. It was forgiving him, why blaming myself for him doing those things to me and this and that, but it gave me that opportunity to release that energy. And, he might not know it down here, but he does love me. So.
Yep. You got to make it make sense, and
Yeah.
and it will, and it only has to make sense to you, to make, so that you're not carrying it, so that you're not, because then the questions come, did I deserve this? Come on. I got to stay in this relationship because he's only doing it because he loves me. Like, all these weird things come in. So Yeah, the healing and the understanding. I've been diving deep in the scriptures this morning, actually, and just looking into the concepts of, demons and things like that. Like, they're paired with people to help them.
Mhm.
Like, and even though the help might hurt, listen, it's working something good in you. You're going to have a compassion afterwards. There's a level of compassion we need in the earth, and the only way you're going to receive it is to go through something that gives you supernatural compassion, supernatural love. Like, you're going to have to go hungry for so many days until you have this overwhelming burden naturally and empathy to help people that are hungry, to help people that are starving, and so we go through these tough times and these tough lessons in our lives that really come back to bless us. And the idea of a demon or a daemon or something like that, people would think demonic, get rid of it. It's like, and I used to think that way. And maybe there's some that you should, trust me. But
Yeah.
what if something's trying to help you and it's just a hard lesson to learn?
Yeah.
It's like
Well,
in school.
you
We
have
had
to walk
teachers
through.
that were hard, they taught hard lessons and we didn't like them. But
Oh,
we
yeah.
also had teachers that let you do anything and you loved them. They let you get away and
Mhm.
do anything. No, no, no. In the real world, you can't just do anything and get away with it. There's hard lessons that you have to learn, hard love, if you will. So, like you said, the people that show up and play these roles or whatever, they come back, that when everything goes back into the box, right? When all the pieces go back in, or when the final curtain call, when all the actors come back on the stage and you see the villain next to the lover and next to the children, like they take this bow for the curtain call, they're playing different roles, and they'll come back in the next scene and even play different characters.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
I'm telling you, I think the pyramid energy connects, it does connect to that scene, if you will.
yeah, for sure. You have to dance in the darkness to really appreciate the light. And some of the most genuinely compassionate, loving people on this earth have suffered the most trauma any of us could even endure, imagine enduring.
Mhm.
So it's those lessons. We need to welcome the lessons. We can't just live in a stagnant energy and be afraid to go out. Oh, I can't drive because I could be in an accident, or so I'll just stay home all the time. You can't have that mentality, because that's not truly living. And you're going to stagnate with it. You're not going to be any use to anybody. And we're all here for a reason. We need to realize our power. We need to figure out why we're here. We need to figure out who we are. Nobody's telling us. And like I said, it goes back to your intuition. We need to start trusting ourselves. We're the only people that we can really trust.
Yep, you're right. You're absolutely right. And then once we learn from that, then we can come together and just share. Not about teaching anybody. It's not about being right. It's about you being able to tap in for yourself. And then we come together and share what we've been finding. And what we are finding is that we're all saying the same thing, just using different words from different places, from different backgrounds, different languages, but we're all saying the same thing. And once we realize that we're all in the same situation together, maybe we'll work together to get each other out of it. And I don't care what language you use, what holy book, I don't care. They're all beautiful. They're all awesome. If a beautiful person's reading it, if an awesome person's reading it, if you have a dreadful person, if you have a malicious person reading any of those texts, including mediumship and spiritual orgone energy, they're gonna that's a tool, can be used for good and for bad. Like, it doesn't matter. The Bible is a tool. A hammer is a tool. If that
Mhm.
falls into the hands of the wrong person, look out, look out. There's going to be victims everywhere, whether it's the Bible, whether it's money, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So I love it. And we could talk about this all day. Let people know where they can go to check out your work, to check out some of the pyramids, and where they can purchase and all that good stuff.
Yeah, so my website is Pyramid Surge, surge.com. My sister sites are on there, so you'll get the link at the top for Stargate Pyramids if you want to buy the meditation pyramids as well as the capstones and accessories. I also have orgone pyramids on there as well, and some different magnetic amplifiers. And I know you touched on electroculture. I actually am delving into more electroculture products as well. And that's one of the reasons I'll be making the big wooden frame meditation pyramids to utilize for electroculture purposes this summer. And I'll be doing some experiments. The Pyramid Science Foundation is where you can find our research and the different topics that we'd like to delve into. You can donate there, as well as even help with some of the research if you're interested in doing things like that. You know, I did an experiment last year with polywogs, and a couple of different plants ended up in there as well. So it was just an amazing experiment. You know, the polywogs got a lot larger than the ones without the pyramid. The plants in the one with the pyramid just were astounding. And you can see that on our YouTube channel for the Pyramid Science Foundation. Charlie and I both have a live stream every Wednesday, usually, for the Pyramid Science Foundation on our YouTube channel. And my link tree and all the links are on pyramidsurge.com. So it's easy for everybody to find. And then I'll also soon be starting my own podcast called Alter Ether. I have some great guests. You know, I'd like to have you on, Derek. We could talk for days, I'm sure, on a lot of different topics. But that's what I want to do. I want to start sharing this knowledge with the world and empowering people, teaching them just how powerful we really are and how to easily grasp it. Not, you know, like Charlie and I make meditation pyramids, but Charlie gives people the directions for free on how to make your own if you can't afford to buy one. You know, so there's a lot of different things. We need to start helping each other because we need the unity again. We need to get into the unity, the community. And that's what I want to teach people.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm with it, my friend. Thank you so much for coming on, hanging out. And when you get your podcast going, let me know. I'll gladly come on.
Awesome.
Continue this conversation elsewhere.
Yes. Awesome.
Appreciate it, my friend. Thanks. We'll do it again.
Yes. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
Give it up for Lisa Richards, everybody. Such a good talk. Make sure y'all check out her work and what she's bringing to the table. The pyramid energy, being able to channel and to direct it, free energy. You know, if you look into the positive and negatively charged ions that are just permeating the atmosphere at all times, and how we can harness it and how we are harnessing it to aid our body, even through the breath, and how we're connecting with these cells and microorganisms. My goodness, when you can try to be intentional, to try to harness and just do little experiments, harness it with your words, harness it with vibrational frequency, which is what your words are, speaking life, becoming life, so that there's this life in abundance flowing to you and through you. That's what channeling is. That's all I mean about channeling, that the infinite energy, the Holy Spirit, is flowing to you and through you out into the world. Come on. And if you like the whole thing about being intentional about it, this is happening by default. And people, we just don't know it. They stole the magic and made us think that it was evil to be intentional. Everything that we're doing, everything that's being taught to us and pumped through us through television and through media, through the government, there's nothing new. None of this is new. Somebody said this first. Somebody did this first. This is not new. We've been here before. We're going to be here again. So become intentional with that. Ask, seek, and knock, so that the energy and information that is being channeled to you and through you, you can become a conduit for that which is good. You can hold up a strainer or a net or something to cut off those portals, those windows to the etheric realms that are here to create destruction. Like, how do you create and destroy? It's what we do. But do it, create beauty. One who creates beautiful music. Come on. Something that is life-giving, so that there's so much coming to you and through you, it's coming out of you. There's enough to go around for everybody. There was so much of this energy in the person of Jesus that the lady with an issue of blood, this lady, as they're walking through this crowd, this is in the Bible, walking through a crowd, all of these people in the street, a lady was dealing with this internal bleeding problem, knew that all she had to do was get close to Jesus and touch the hem of his garment. If I can but touch the hem of his garment, I will be healed. She moved through the crowd. She reached out her hand, stretched forth, and touched the hem of his garment. And it says that when she did, she was immediately healed, and that Jesus felt it. Jesus felt the virtue, the power leave his body and flow to that woman through her faith that met in action, that he had this beauty of God, the Holy Spirit in him to such a degree that he could feel it going out to others and it actually healing them. Did he get depleted? No. He felt it. And I think that we're doing the same thing. By default, there's people touching us and pulling us, and we're in the marketplace and out just rubbing shoulders and auras with people that we're picking up on stuff. We're empathic, we're feeling, we're reading people's thoughts and the so-called psychic. All of that's happening by default. So if you know that, then you can put on your spiritual armor. Then you can be intentional. Well, I don't want that rubbing off on me. And if it does, I'm going to give it to God. I'm going to cleanse myself because this isn't mine. I want beauty. I want life. I want love. Be intentional of the energy that's coming to you and through you. And I think that that's what we're talking about here with pyramid energy. And it is all in the Bible. There's festivals, the festival of booths. You look into this stuff, man. This stuff isn't just in there for no reason. There is a spiritual connection to everything because we are spirit. We are spirit. We are a soul and a spirit that have come together in marriage, and we're inside of a body right now, experiencing this realm. Make the best of it. Make good memories because that is eternal. Before we end today, I want to say a prayer. I want to extend to those who are struggling, specifically in marriage, for those who are living with a spouse who doesn't see eye to eye. You may be having a spiritual awakening and nobody understands you. And how hard is it when that person who doesn't understand you is in your own household? I know there's many of you. I talk to you. I know who you are. And I've felt like I was there before, to a degree where you're experiencing awakening, you're experiencing God, and nobody understands you. So you bring it to your spouse and they don't understand you. And it can be hard because maybe that's all you want to do. Fasting and praying and researching and all this stuff, and it doesn't feel reciprocated. And it can drive a wedge in between marriages. I'll say that. I want to say that, and I can't say that without saying that my wife has been such a blessing to me in the past. She's always been a blessing. Let's get that straight. But within the past 2 months, month and a half, there's hope. There is hope. You know, we get caught and we get stuck in the mundane and doing life and going to work. And then things are happening. We're brushing shoulders with people, you know, trauma, stuck in the body that makes you act a certain type of way, it's not you. The energy that was coming to you didn't come through you, and it just got stuck in you. It's not who you are. And I can't wait for you guys to hear her talk about it. She's been talking about it on our Patreon, on our Hangouts every Thursday and Sunday. So for those of you who want to get the backstage access and hang out with us on that, she's been joining all of those. She'll be on the podcast soon. But man, to see like that energy left her. This stuck hurt trauma was in her for years, and it left her. And she was never a bad person. She was not like, she was amazing. She's my other half. She completes me. Like we've had a good marriage. We've had a great marriage, but now we've have like, it feels like we just got married again. And I want to encourage you with that, to say that God is in the business of making all things new. Jesus says, behold, I've come to make all things new. Every day is new. The mercy, the beauty, listen to me, every breath is new. And all you have to do is say thank you. To breathe in, be intentional with that energy that you're breathing. Come on. And just say thank you for the breath. And as you breathe in, allow it to absorb and go directly to the places within your body that needs a touch, whatever it is. There may be places in your body, in your mind, in your psyche that need a touch that you don't even know about. But when you breathe in and you're intentional and you say thank you and you allow it to go forth and do that, you'll be touched in ways that you never know you needed it. There's stuck energy that's become so familiar with you. It's a spirit that has become familiar. You think it's a part of you. It's not. And if you want to release that now, I want you to breathe in with me. When I count down to 3, you're going to breathe in through the nostrils, hold it for just a moment, and then exhale through your mouth. And when you exhale through the mouth, I want you to release and get rid of all of that stuck energy, that stagnant energy, those memories that have been stuck with you, to release it, because God comes to make all things new with each breath. Your marriages, your relationships, your finances, He's coming to make that new as well. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Breathe in really deep. Say thank you, thank you, thank you. Just hold it and then release. 3, 2, 1, release it. Never to return, never to return, never be the same. In Jesus' mighty name, in the name of Yahshua ben Yosef, I bless you now, Father, that you would pour out your spirit on all who are listening right now. Comforter, I ask you to comfort hearts right now. Do what only you can do to my friends who are going through a rough patch. Father, I ask you to encourage now. Send forth encouraging spirits, the Holy Ghost. We thank you so much. God, I pray for marriages. I pray that the scripture says that what God has joined together, that no man can set asunder. No man can tear apart. God, I pray that marriages come together in such a new way that you return the joy, you return the romance, you return them to that childlike awe and wonder to be together. For those who are questioning divorce, Father, I pray that you remove those thoughts even now. But then you show them the manifestation of what you can do, and what you've done once in their life, you can do it again. Father, I thank you in Jesus' mighty name. Listen, some of you who are listening, it's not a marriage relationship with a significant other. It's a marriage relationship with the person of Jesus Christ, Yeshua. That God would restore unto you the joy of your salvation from whence you first believe. God, that you stir it up even now. peace be upon them. Right now, they feel it in their belly, moving, stirring, stirring, stirring. 3, 2, 1, breathe in. More, 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 more. Enjoy that. It is beauty, it is bliss, and it is for you. Why? Because God is for you. Man, so excited for you. So excited for this year and what God is doing. Make sure you check us out. You can go to my Patreon. You can go to seer.school to become a member and access all of the past streams that we do, the past hangout sessions. They're all archived there. All of our webinars. I mean, there's so much stuff. My meditation library, that archive, all of it's there. www.seer.school. Check it out. For those of you who are interested as well, we have a retreat and conference coming up in Anderson, South Carolina. This is February the 15th through the 18th. It's going to be amazing. Myself, Martin Smith, Gil Hodges from Kingdom Talks, my friend Lahaba is going to be there doing music. It's going to be amazing. 4 days. Come on. For those of you who are interested and want to hang out and want to tap into the things of the spirit, when we all get together, man, listen, amazing things happen. I've been doing retreats and leading them by myself, and they've been amazing. But I'm teamed up with these guys, and when we come together, listen, it's going to be amazing. When you bring forth expectation, and we are all in that childlike faith, and we're all in awe and wonder, and God is always moving in our midst. So I look forward anytime I connect with those guys. If you're interested in that, go to any of those websites that are in the description, TruthSeekah.com, seer.school. Get your tickets today. Check it out, www.seer.school. Love you guys. I'll see you again.